This is the most twisted old couple I've ever seen. They run what looks like an ordinary bed and breakfast. They seem warm and friendly, but once someone checks in, things quickly start to feel wrong. Even stranger, the house seems to be hiding secrets no one was ever meant to find. The movie tells 3 stories that seem completely unrelated, but by the end, they all come together to reveal one horrifying truth. It all begins with a mysterious murder. Late one night, an old man is organizing books in a library when he hears a strange noise. He goes to check it out and spots a man holding a knife in the mirror. The old man runs for his life, but the killer quickly catches him. It turns out the old man owes money to some loan sharks. Desperate to stay alive, he offers them a secret in exchange for his life. In the town of Ravenmore, there's a priceless book of blood. After finding out where it is, the killer murders the old man anyway. He and his partner Steve then drive to Ravenmore to find the book. The story cuts to a huge house by the ocean. Jenna has severe misophonia, a condition that makes certain sounds unbearable for her. She can't even stand the sound of her parents eating, and it constantly causes arguments at home. One night, Jenna overhears her mother and stepfather talking about sending her to a psychiatric hospital. While they're asleep, she walks into their bedroom with a knife. She plans to kill them, but she can't bring herself to do it. Instead, Jenna steals some cash from their safe and leaves home in the middle of the night. At the bus station, she notices a man staring at her. When he follows her onto the bus, Jenna panics and gets off halfway through the trip. The second she steps into the road, she's nearly hit by a sports car. Inside are the 2 men from earlier, Bennett and Steve. Without realizing it, Jenna has arrived in Ravenmore. She hides inside an internet cafe and searches for somewhere quiet to stay. She finds a remote bed and breakfast that seems perfect for someone with her condition. The place is owned by an elderly couple named Ellie and Sam. They seem incredibly welcoming, and Jenna also meets another guest named Gavin. Once Jenna gets to her room, she hears something moving inside the wall. She leans in for a closer look, and a cockroach suddenly crawls out. Ellie appears behind her and invites her to dinner. When Jenna looks back, the wall seems completely normal, so she assumes she imagined the whole thing. But during dinner, another cockroach crawls out from under the floorboards. Ellie doesn't seem bothered at all. She simply scoops it up with a tablecloth and tosses it out the window. After dinner, Gavin and Jenna talk by the fireplace. Since they're around the same age, they quickly hit it off, exchange numbers, and make plans to get coffee the next morning. Jenna returns to her room, puts on her headphones, and falls asleep. But in the middle of the night, something terrifying happens. Jenna is fully awake, but she can't move. A woman holding a glass of wine appears in her room, and when the woman turns around, Jenna sees that her entire face is one enormous mouth. The woman doesn't attack her, she simply turns and walks away. A little later, Gavin enters Jenna's room and looks like he's about to make a move on her. Before he can do anything, an unseen force suddenly drags him away. Then Ellie and Sam walk in. Sam even pulls out a tape measure and measures Jenna's height. The next morning, Jenna remembers everything that happened, but she convinces herself it was only a nightmare. She goes to the cafe to meet Gavin, but he never shows up. Just as she's about to leave, Jenna sees the mysterious man from the bus station again. Terrified, she slips out through the back door. Ellie eventually finds her and helps her calm down. That night, Jenna hears noises coming from inside the wall again. She follows the sound and discovers a hidden door. When she opens it, she finds someone lying inside, still alive, but completely paralyzed. Jenna's scream brings Ellie running upstairs, so Jenna quickly lies and says she just had another nightmare. She grabs her phone and texts Gavin for help, unaware that Ellie has Gavin's phone. Then Jenna's bedroom door slowly opens by itself. The second Ellie steps inside, Jenna smashes her over the head with a lamp. Jenna makes a run for it, only to discover that every window has been locked. With Sam coming up the stairs, she races to the other side of the house and accidentally discovers a hidden passage. Jenna prees a wooden panel off the wall and crawls inside. But without warning, countless hands reach out and grab her. She manages to fight them off, only to be caught by Ellie and Sam. Ellie immediately injects her with a sedative. When Jenna wakes up, her mind is completely clear, but she can't move her body. Sitting beside her, Ellie finally reveals the truth. Ellie used to work as a nurse. She couldn't stand watching her patients suffer, so she would secretly end their lives early. When the truth came out, the hospital wanted to avoid a scandal, so they simply fired her. After Ellie's daughter found out what she had done, she planned to move away with her family. So Ellie and Sam used their medical knowledge to paralyze their daughter, her husband, and even their granddaughter. They kept the entire family alive and hid them beneath the floorboards. After that, Ellie and Sam turned the house into a bed and breakfast. Every guest who stayed there eventually suffered the same fate. Now, people are hidden everywhere inside the walls and under the floors. That's why Sam measured Jenna that night. He was figuring out where they were going to put her. Gavin has already suffered the same fate. After telling Jenna everything, Ellie prepares to sew her eyes shut. That's when the doorbell suddenly rings. The man standing outside is Balsam, the same person who has been following Jenna for days. It turns out he's the father of Jenna's ex-boyfriend, Tony. Tony spoke to Jenna on the phone right before jumping from a building, so Balsam has been trying to find her and learn the truth about his son's death. Before he can finish talking, Sam attacks him from behind. At the same time, Jenna's sedative begins to wear off. While Ellie and Sam deal with Balsam, Jenna crawls out through a window and escapes. She plans to steal Balsam's car, but Ellie and Sam bring his body outside and load it into the vehicle. With nowhere else to go, Jenna hides in the back seat. Sam drives the car to the edge of a cliff to stage an accident. He sends the vehicle over the edge with Balsam's body inside, making it look like he lost control and crashed. Neither of them realizes Jenna is still hiding in the back. After watching the car plunge off the cliff, Ellie and Sam walk away, satisfied that their work is done. But the story is far from over. We now meet Mary, a single mother whose only son, Miles, died from leukemia. His death left her so devastated that she nearly took her own life. One day, a man named Simon visits Mary at her office. He claims he can see the dead and says Miles sent him to find her. To find out if Simon can really communicate with spirits, Mary gathers a group of respected experts and has them watch as he enters a laboratory. The seance begins and the lights suddenly go out. Horrifying screams echo through the room. When the lights come back on, the white walls are covered in writing. Then Mary notices one message in particular. "I'm not asleep, Mommy." Before Miles died, he asked Mary where people went after death. She didn't know how to answer, so she told him that dying was just like falling asleep. After the seance, Mary completely believes Simon. She brings him home so she can talk to her son whenever she wants. Over time, Mary and Simon even become a couple. Then one day, Mary catches Simon with another woman. She's crushed by his betrayal, and after drinking too much, Simon finally confesses the truth. Mary's ex-husband hired Simon to help her cope with the loss of their son. The words on the walls had been written beforehand and revealed with a special chemical. Even the message about Miles not being asleep came from Mary's ex-husband. In an instant, all of Mary's hope disappears. She goes into Miles's bedroom, holds one of his old toys, and breaks down in tears. Then, words begin appearing by themselves on the chalkboard behind her. "Give him to us." That's when Mary realizes Miles might really still be there. The next day, Simon visits Mary and says he drank too much the night before. He asks if he said anything he shouldn't have. Mary isn't angry. Instead, she asks him to perform another seance that night. Simon is confused. His scam has already been exposed, so why would she want him to do it again? After Simon leaves, Mary sees Miles sitting on a swing nearby. That night, Mary brings Simon into Miles's room. With a group of people watching, she puts her plan into motion. She looks straight at Simon and says, "You really made them angry." Then she walks out and closes the door behind her. Miles's voice suddenly comes from inside the room. A moment later, his figure appears in the rocking chair. Simon's face goes pale. The lights go out, and countless spirits surround him. They begin carving line after line of writing into his skin. As Simon screams inside the room, Mary stands outside and smiles. At the same time, a massive blackout hits Ravenmoor. Bennett and Steve have also reached the town. They're here for one thing, the Book of Blood. Suddenly, a figure darts in front of their car, and the vehicle breaks down. Bennett gets out to check the engine, while Steve hears someone calling his name. He follows the voice into an abandoned church. Bennett notices Steve acting strangely and follows him inside. To his horror, Steve raises his gun and takes his own life. Bennett runs back to the car. The sports car, which wouldn't start just moments ago, suddenly comes to life on its own and speeds straight toward him. Luckily, Bennett jumps out of the way just in time. But he refuses to give up. All he wants is to find the Book of Blood and get out of Ravenmoor. Following the clue he got from the old man, Bennett eventually reaches Mary's house. When he enters Miles's room, he demands to know where the book is. Mary points to Simon, who is sitting in a wheelchair. He is the Book of Blood. The Book of Blood was never an actual book. The dead have been carving their stories into Simon's body, one piece at a time. Simon himself is the book. Before Bennett can process what he's hearing, he sees his own name written on Simon's skin. Terrified, he turns and runs. In his panic, he somehow ends up at Ellie and Sam's bed and breakfast. Sam is busy getting rid of a body when Ellie quietly appears behind Bennett and knocks him out with a hammer. At last, all three stories have come together. The movie then returns to Jenna. She slowly wakes up in a hospital. Jenna survived the car going over the cliff. Someone found her in the wreckage and brought her to the hospital. But when the police question her, she says nothing about what happened at the bed and breakfast. After leaving the hospital, Jenna's parents take her home. While looking through one of her old comic books, she finally remembers the real reason Tony jumped from the building. Tony loved her deeply. He once told her he would do anything for her, even give up his life. Jenna didn't believe him, so she told Tony to prove it by jumping. And he actually did. Tony's death traumatized Jenna so badly that her mind buried the memory. Now that she remembers everything, Jenna completely falls apart. She can't forgive herself for what she did. So she returns to the bed and breakfast and willingly walks into Ellie and Sam's arms. Jenna asks them to sew her eyes and ears shut. She lets them turn her into another living corpse and hide her beneath the floorboards. From that moment on, she can't hear anything. She can't see anything, and she never has to feel that pain again. Jenna's name also appears on Simon, the living Book of Blood, and the stories written in blood will continue.